Welcome to 6 Degrees North Country Living. I'm your host, Craig O'Connor, and welcome to the show today. I'd like to say thank you for tuning in and listening to me. Thanks again to Lisa for stopping in last week and talking to us. I had a great time. Thanks to all the listeners. A special shout out to Andre over in the UK. Thank you for listening to 6 Degrees North Country Living over there. If you noticed last week, before Lisa came in, I told you a little bit about myself. Started thinking about that, and I thought it might be nice if you had a feel for why my show is called 6 Degrees North and kind of which direction I'm moving in with the show. I guess we'll start with the name, 6 Degrees North. So long ago, as the leaves turned to a beautiful color about to finish their journey, a brisk northerly breeze signals the time to harvest the large yellow pumpkins from the vine in Section 34 of Town 6 North, Range 15. So there you have it. That's how I got the name. That is a passage from an old book, Sullivan Town 6 North, and it's about the history of this local area. So when I read that, I misread it by saying 6 degrees north. So yeah, not a real exciting story, but it's something and nice and simple, and that's kind of the way the show is going to go. I want to keep it simple. I don't want any politics. I don't do a lot of that. It's going to be tips, tricks, hints, safety, everything that I am living in my rural spot and my neighbors, just different points of view from different people along those lines. A lot of the music that you hear, a lot of the poetry, that's just country folks just entertaining ourselves and having a good time. And so anything for fun, that's what we're trying to do, have fun. So yeah, thank you for listening to 6 Degrees North Country Living. Love you. Today's topic, fire safety. I can't say enough how important this is. This was the topic of one of my first shows, and when I was just getting started trying to put a podcast together, I didn't know an awful lot, so my show was cut short on the first episode, and this was going to be one of the issues I talked about, and I just never got back to it. So now I feel really, really bad about not talking about it. It's such an important thing now. I'm glad we got back to it. Fire safety in the wintertime is without a doubt the most important thing you can do is prevention. That's the key. When it's extreme weather out there, like I'm sure everybody in the country knows, we're looking at minus 50 tomorrow. It's important. Things that weren't broken at 20 degrees to 0 degrees are definitely going to break at minus 50. I spent a lot of time up in Fairbanks, so I've just gotten used to keeping an eye on things, making sure that everything's going to get me through a week of 50 below zero or 3 days. I tell you what, I get pretty nervous when storms like this come rolling through. I mean, I can't say it enough. I mean, I'm not recommending for everybody to, get all freaked out and start hoarding and prepping, but man, it's enough can't be said to be ahead of the game too. I was down today, taking another look, and I saw coming out of my point, because I have a point water system, that I had a leak going into my pump. So, it's pretty warm in my basement, but that's today at -2. At 50 below, that basement sure enough going to freeze. So, I got my wrenches out, tightened that up, made sure the silicone tape was in place, took it apart, got it ready. Took me maybe 45 minutes, but that's the kinds of things you do. I found a couple pieces of insulation that were just laying there, and I put them in places that I thought could use a little bit more insulation. That little area between your footing and where your house actually starts, that's where all that cold draft's getting in, and that's kind of the areas you really want to take a look. But back to the fire prevention. Walk around, check cords, put your hand on the cords. I'm talking not the extension cord, because you shouldn't be using an extension cord to run a lot of these little heaters, which are a huge cause of fire. But also the cause is that those plug-ins really aren't a heavy enough gauge of cord to run the amount of amps that a heater requires. So a lot of times you'll feel those cords heating up, and without paying attention to them, they can melt and they can get so hot they'll catch fire. And then if you're sleeping in the middle of the night, you don't have fire extinguishers and smoke alarms, all this, you're going to be up in smoke. I hate to say it. It's a bad story. It's a sad story. But my next door neighbor last night, we woke up to the other neighbor, who happened to be having a bout of insomnia, Nicole, called me on the phone screaming. I thought she said my house was on fire, and she corrected me, it was Nick's house that was on fire. So she's running out. She ran to the fire. I hop out of bed, get my boots on. We run over there. I catch up with her through the smoke. I can see her standing up there by my neighbor's mailbox. I get up there, and she tells me that she can't hear anybody. We're both yelling our heads off, trying to figure out if somebody's in that house. The flames had totally engulfed my neighbor's house in under 15 minutes. It was unbelievable. We're not sure how the fire started, so I'm not going to make any assumptions there, but it seems like every cold snap, cold spell, somebody's home burns to the ground, and it's just horrifying. It's a horrifying experience. It's a huge trauma on the people who are going through it. I'd just like to say that if anybody would like to help, Amanda O'Connor has set up on Facebook a GoFundMe page for Nick Meyer. He lost everything, and that's kind of why I'm feeling a little guilty about not getting this message out sooner. That fire safety in extreme cold weather is very important. Stuff breaks at 50 below. You have to check it. You have to be on it, because once fire starts, it is almost impossible to get it out. And living rural, by the time the community can get the firefighters together, it's too late. I mean, we had 15, 16 trucks out here. These guys were working their butts off, and 20 below weather, spraying the water. Equipment was freezing up. These guys were just giving it their all. But the fact of the matter is that we couldn't save the house, and prevention would have been the most important thing you can do. So check those cords, check your outlets. Every time you're up and about, check the outlet. Make sure there's not the telltale signs of a short, which is a little black smudge coming out of the smiley face holes that you plug your stuff into. Make sure that doesn't have black looking charred on it, because that's a good sign there. Check the ends of the plugs. Make sure that plastic isn't melted. Check. When you go to sleep, when you go out of the house, unplug everything you can. It's just the easiest way. Otherwise, you could be, homeless without anything. Nick lost everything. His kid lost everything. So it's important. Hopefully I'm scaring you, but not too much. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I sure appreciate everybody taking their time out of the day to listen to me meander through a show. I do have a new song. I'm going to try to put some percussion with it. It's a song that I been wanting to write for a while. So it's about how I met my wife. So that'll be on the next show. And until then, you guys keep yourself safe, keep yourself warm. This is 6 Degrees North Country Living. Love you.